What if I do something? Look at this. I think that the engine is just a little bit confused. So it's saying this is equal when I go queen b8. Oh, it's queen d8. Of course, the engine is not confused. Okay, guys, welcome to lesson number 177. We're going to be doing endgames training, but more specifically, this is going to be about endgame tactics. So I got them from a book that are precisely about that. I have not solved them yet, so I'm going to give myself around 5 minutes per exercise, and you're welcome to do the same at home. So pause the video after each exercise and try to work on it for 5 minutes. Then you keep going to listen to the answer. So with that said, I'm gonna go straight to it. This one is white pieces to move. Obviously, opposite color bishop. We know they tend to be drawish, but we have 3 pawns against 1, and the book is telling us there is a tactic here. So hopefully, if your intuition is developed properly at this point in the course, whenever you go to a position that is critical, your intuition is going to alert you, and then we start looking for patterns and tactics and so on. So white pieces to move. See you in 5 minutes. All right, guys, so this one, I think I found it. So I hope that you actually pause the video and try to work on it. So basically, the first thing that came to my mind, I thought of course, checks. So I looked at bishop a5, they take, nothing concrete at that point. Bishop c5, they take, even worse. They could take on c4. Then I thought, okay, what if I just go something like this? Check, king has to move, and I take on a7. So that one is interesting. And then, of course, we got king d4 with the idea of king d6. Now, the thing with king d4 or bishop here is that they could do king c7. And when you go after the pawn, they could go king b8. And yes, we could do something like probably c5, b6, but even though it should be fine, it's not as clear. And then I thought of bishop d6 directly. So bishop d6, I'm basically cutting off the way for the king to retreat, only squares to go to a5. But if they did so, I think we could then go something like bishop c5, we take, and that king can never get in the way. So with the other variation, I think we could also collect the pawn, but I think it's better if this king is completely out of the game than if it is here in the zone to defend it with the bishop. So I'm thinking bishop d6, if they don't do anything, like if they don't go to a5, I go king c3, king b4, and then c5 would be checkmate. So I might be completely wrong, but let me take a look. Let me actually activate the engine and see what the engine has to say. So bishop e7, well, actually, there you go, guys. I did not even consider that. And it looks like it's the only move that wins. Now, according to the book here, I have the book right here, and it's giving me indeed bishop e7 as the top move. And then they could do either bishop d7 or king a5. If king a5, then we got king d4. We keep bringing our king up. Then bishop goes to h3, trying to hit us from behind. And after bishop d6, we're definitely going to get that pawn. So we could do check first, and then we could go after that pawn. This should be completely winning. Now, what if instead of the king going to a5, they go bishop d7? Well, they're giving here bishop d8 check. King has to go to c5, and then after king c5, guys, see if you can find a very nice move here for the white pieces. Basically, I think this is where the actual tactic starts. So here we have, if you pause the video and you found it, congrats, but here we have b6, pawn takes, a7 to promote, and then after bishop c6, only move to stop the pawn, we got checkmate in one move. And yes, bishop e7 checkmate. So bishop d6, let me see what happens with bishop d6. So look, bishop d7, and then here I was happy with king c3, king b4, but what's wrong with that? Okay, yeah, of course. So there you go. And guys, now even if you got this pawn, you're going to have a rook pawn, and the promotion square is not the same color as your bishop. So this is going to be a draw. But of course here, they're gonna get this pawn no matter what. So with that said, let's go to next one. This one is white pieces to move. 5 minutes. See you in a moment. Okay, guys, this one took me a little bit more than 5 minutes. I'm trying to keep it at 5 minutes, and then I look at the answer. But I knew I had it. I was just calculating. There's so many things that, so many patterns, so many ideas. So I knew I was almost there, so I gave myself a little bit more. And I hope that you guys did the same thing. So here I'm thinking, of course, there are ideas with knight 96, knight f7, trying to get the bishop. If the bishop goes to a5, for example, I can do king b7, knight c7, obstructing the bishop, and then I promote. So that's one idea. Then I also realized, what if I do f6? If the bishop takes, I could go knight e4 check, I take the bishop and I promote. So I like that. But then I'm thinking, what if after f6, the pawn simply takes, right? So I wasn't so sure. But then I'm thinking, what if my knight could land on c6? I'll be hitting the bishop. I'm controlling e7. This pawn is obstructing the bishop again. And going to b6, I have my king on b7. So that's another idea that came to mind. And of course, we have these 94s right away. Now, I think the answer is f6 indeed. It's just very nice move. And after pawn takes, we got 96, hitting that bishop. If the bishop goes this way, that other idea comes to mind, knight c7. And if the bishop goes to e7, I got knight d4, followed by knight c6. And we have plenty of time to do so, since this pawn is far from promotion. So I'm going to, like always, go ahead and activate the engine. And yeah, we got f6. This is the only move that wins, actually. And then if this check, we take the bishop and promote. If instead pawn takes, then knight e6, we're good. Okay, bishop a5. If they had gone here, I calculated knight d4, knight c6. So we got that one. And then we take. If they had done bishop here, then king b7, knight c. Okay, they're giving king a7. Okay, maybe I have the wrong idea. So king b7, h5. Oh, okay, so I guess this is stronger. Okay, no. Okay, so knight c7 is good, but I guess this is just even stronger. And then we're gonna promote without having to give the knight. So that's it, guys. Pretty interesting idea. We have talked about this kind of interference in one of our lessons. If you already went over it, then this should have been pretty easy to get to. Plus our lessons on visualization, calculation, and so on. So let me turn this off and let me just go to the next one. And for this one, we're white pieces again. 5 minutes. See you in a moment. All right, guys. So this one, I think I got it. So immediately, of course, we know it has to do with the pawn and the bishop playing around with the knight. We have so many times talked about that principle where if the bishop is 2 squares away from the knight, we're going to be controlling it. So I'm thinking, I have this idea of bringing the king over, right? And then if this knight tries to incorporate, I could always do f7 to promote, king comes over to get it, and then I get a beautiful fork, right? If the king takes it, I promote. And then if the knight goes to a3, I could do f7, king comes over, bishop e7 to help with promotion, but also hitting the knight. So I have those ideas, but then I thought, what if I do something like king f2 and my opponent goes king g8, for example? Well, I don't think I'm going to have anything. Probably king g6 is just as good. And then the knight could find a way out. So I'm thinking, what would be my ideal position, guys? And we learned about this from that lesson on Capablanca's rules for the endgame. And one thing that he would do is he would think of his ideal position. Where do I want my pieces to be? And I thought, well, what if my bishop happens to be on b4? I'm 2 squares away from the knight. That means I'm controlling it. So I thought f7, this is more forcing. The king doesn't have the time. So after f7, king g7, bishop e7, same idea from before. I'm threatening to promote. And if they take, then bishop b4 and the knight is trapped. After, I just need to bring the king over, get the knight. This pawn could be trouble, but it's under control. The king is just too far. So one more time, guys, I'm going to activate the engine here. And yeah, f7 is the move. King g7 if they want to stop it. And after bishop e7, bishop b4, we should be fine. So king takes, then bishop b4, and that's it. King comes over. So they're giving here king f6, king f2, king f5, king e3, just to show you. King e5, bishop f8. Okay, I did not calculate this far. Now, what if king d3? Yeah, king d3 wins as well. Let me see if they're afraid of anything here. Nah, this should be fine. We take king d3, king b2, and that's it, guys. Worst case scenario, we just sack over here, and then we're able to win this endgame. So there you have it, guys. Let me turn this off, and let's go to the next one. Here we have... Okay, so this one, we're in charge of the white pieces. And again, let's try to calculate as much as we can for 5 minutes, and then we go over the answer. All right, guys, I hate doing this. Like, I think I got it. It's been like a few seconds. And typically when this happens to me, I've learned to double check, look for things my opponent could do. But I think this one is pretty straightforward. So it's just pushing the pawn. It seems like we're not going to win this, but if we push the pawn, we're going to promote. The knight, I don't see an easy way to get to the pawn after h7. The only thing they could do is bishop c2 or bishop g8. If bishop c2, we take it. If bishop... Actually, I just thought of something. No. Okay, if bishop g8, then we got fork. We're gonna get the bishop. If they take us, then h7 and we promote. So same thing. Let me go to the engine, which is the one who knows better. So yeah, h6, bishop g8, and then guys, simple tactic. This one is not so complicated. They take h7, and after knight f3, we just promote. We should be able to win this. Now, a fun exercise. We've talked about this so many times. Now that you have a winning position, set this up against the engine, see if you can convert this into a win. So let me eliminate this and let's go to the next one. So we got black pieces to move. So 5 minutes and I will see you back here. Right, guys, this one, I'm not gonna lie, they're getting easier. Let's see the last two if they get a little bit more difficult, but this one is pretty straightforward. We gotta think first of getting the pawn, but we realize if we go for it right away, they could advance, and then the pawn is on a light square, we can definitely not capture it. So instead, we're going to fix the pawn first, then after knight f2, we go for it, but then what if they did knight d3 or even knight d1? Well, now is when the tactic hits. So we taking advantage of the fact that the knight is pretty bad on these squares, guys. So now we go a3, and the knight is just too clumsy to come around and stop the pawn. So they gotta move it, and we promote. Now, let me go all the way back. I might be getting it wrong, but I think this is what it is. But I think I've seen this one. I had seen this one before. So anyhow, yeah, a4. They're giving here okay, knight f2, of course. Then bishop c1, and after knight d3, we take on b2, knight takes, and pawn to a3. That's it. At this point, they gotta move and we promote. So guys, that was pretty easy. I hope that you found it. If not, there you learned a new idea where you could sack and then the pawn can promote. And guys, this one we have seen, it's white to move. We have seen this idea before, and I'm gonna let you know after what lesson we actually talked about it. But anyhow, this one is white to move. See you in a few minutes. Okay, this one, this one I thought it was going to be easy because I had seen this idea before, but no, it's a little bit different, guys. In that other video, we had talked about an exercise where basically you had to put the knight on f6, hoping that they would take, then king f7, they advance, and then you promote, right? But here we just don't have the time. Like if I go, I don't know, let's say this way, right? So if I go knight f2, d5, knight g4, that's stalemate right there. So then I started to look at knight e5, knight c5. I thought it wouldn't work until I think I found the winning idea. So knight e5, pawn takes. If we take, stalemate. So I gotta advance, pawn goes up, d6, e3. Right here I thought, okay, what if I just go d7? If they advance, I promote, they promote, I get out of the check, and that's checkmate, right? But the main problem is that after knight e5, pawn takes, pawn goes, pawn e4, pawn d6, pawn e3. After pawn d7, they could take, I promote, and they promote. And the thing is, if I get the queen, it's stalemate. So I thought, what could I do? If I move the king, well, they take me, king takes back, stalemate. So I think the move is, after I promote, they promote, is just to go queen somewhere like b8, maybe. And then we're threatening checkmate. If they put us in check, whatever they do, we just get out of the way. and that's going to be checkmate. So let me take a look at what the engine says. So basically we have, yeah, so knight e5, d takes e5, d5, e4, and then here we keep on going. e2, I think is the easy. If they go the easy one, then ooh, promotion into a knight is the only move. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. That's it, guys. Whatever they promote into, this is checkmate. What if I had done queen? Like, I thought this would be winning. Then d1. What if I go something like this? What if I do something? Look at this. I think that the engine is just a little bit confused. So it's saying this is equal when I go queen b8. Oh, it's queen d8. Of course, the engine is not confused. This is really nice. This is where my students tell me, oh, but no, my opponent wouldn't have seen this move in a real game. But that's it, guys. Whatever I do now, it's going to be stalemate. Wow, 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 wow. So the move is everything I said, then we promote into a knight and checkmate. So with that said, I'm going to drop it here. I hope that you found this training useful. I did get a lot from it. So if you want me to continue doing this on a weekly basis, let me know in the comments, and for certain, we're going to do so. So with that said, I will see you guys in our next video.